right, we are back to break down the 49ers offense, and I thought this was one of Jimmy Garoppolo's better games of the season. I thought it was definitely one of his most efficient, and when I say efficient, I'm thinking how many of your dropbacks end up in first downs? Are you generating big plays? And each of those things happen. So Jimmy finished with a 53% success rate, and half of his dropbacks, so 50% of his dropbacks, ended in a first down. That is what you want. John Lynch was on KBR on Tuesday morning, just talking about how this is exactly how we want Jimmy to run our system. So we're going to go over a little bit of that, what he did well, why I thought he played well. But on the flip side, I thought there were a few drops, and there were a few instances where the wide receivers could have bailed Jimmy out and helped out the offense, and they did not. That happened late in the game. So when it comes to the playoffs against a good defense like we will see on Thursday against the Titans, the wide receivers are going to have to make some plays. Not too worried about it, but I want to bring that up. So let's start with the first play, which ends up as a drop. The 49ers are going to run a little spacing concept here. So bottom of the screen, Brandon Ayuk is going to run a slant, and he is going to come open. The backfield, the running back, is going to go to the flat. So by doing that, he is going to hold the flat defender or force his hand, make him go to the flat. Juwan Jennings is going to come up and sit over the middle. He's going to take a lick, but that's what happens when you go over the middle. That's why you want these big-bodied receivers so they can hold on to that. So he ends up dropping the pass. The big issue here is just his technique with his hands, and we'll go over that. So here is the play. Let's watch it play out. And, you know, a lot of people are going to watch this and think that right there, throw it to your best player, Brandon Ayuk. And what I don't really have a problem with this, just because it doesn't matter who you read. So if you want to read him, you want to read him. Either way, you know, you're going to find somebody open. What I want to focus on here is just Jennings and his hands technique. So again, you're going to take a lick going over the middle. That's not a big hit. He should catch that. He has to catch that. The issue is how he's catching the ball. So as a receiver, when the ball is below your waist, you have to have your palms up and facing the quarterback. As you can see, his are backward right now. When your hands are back, you try to cradle the ball in, as Jennings does here. It kind of ricochets off your hands. And it happens all the time. And it's crazy that pro receivers still do this. But it's just, you know, I don't want to say going through the motions, but you have to be on your P's and Q's. You have to have good technique. And Jennings had a couple drops in this game. So in football, it looks like everybody is open, or it looks like there's a receiver open and Jimmy should go there. So there was a clip circulating Twitter, and it was actually during the game. Early in the game, you see George Kittle open here. Why didn't Jimmy throw him the ball? He was open. He missed him. And nope, that's not true. So here's what really happened. The Falcons are going to bring a blitz. And in football, you have to replace the blitz. So as you can see, they have all their guys up here. They're going to end up bringing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you can see how the 49ers set their protection, they slide this way. So the center has this guy. Guard has this guy. The tackle has this guy. And on the other side, you have 2 on 3. So you have 1, 2. Actually, my bad. 2 on 2. So you're good. And what you do is you replace the blitz. And Jimmy does that. And Juice just curls up. It's a completion. It's short of the first down. But that is a good process. That is a good football play. So at any level, you just have to replace the blitz. It's not on Jimmy. I wouldn't fault him here, because when you see a blitz, you replace a blitz. Pretty simple, pretty one-on-one stuff. So it's easy to pile on, but that's not on the quarterback for missing Kittle there. All right, this next play just speaks to the embarrassment of riches that the 49ers have. So George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, when you can have these three type of threats on the field at all times, you are going to put the defense in quite the predicament. So here, it's pretty simple. They're just going to run a bubble screen to Kittle, which if you can run a bubble screen to your tight end, knowing that you're going to get a positive gain, good on you. But how they set it up is pretty interesting here. So we'll let it play. It turns into a big play because 85 is 85. But if you watch at the bottom of the screen here, Juwan Jennings fakes like he's going to block the corner. And then at the very last minute, breaks out and blocks this guy. And he just chips him just enough. That way Kittle doesn't have to worry about him. By doing that, he doesn't allow this cornerback to crash downhill. Gives Ayuk time to get out here. Just a real nifty design by the 49ers. And then once we get to the end zone view, that safety is flat-footed. And he barely gets a hand on Kittle. That is like athleticism at the next level. That is athleticism that doesn't exist for a lot of us normal humans. But I can watch this play over and over just knowing that right here, you just have no shot against the tight end, against a guy who probably weighs 60 pounds more than you. Just barely gets a hand on him. Insane level of explosiveness from this play. Looks innocuous just because it only goes for like 5 or 6 yards, but the details of this play tells you that Jimmy is, learning from his past mistakes, because it feels like for at least 3 games in a row, he has thrown the ball to an underneath defender and it has cost the team, or it could have cost the team. So I remember last week talking about the backside dig and how, the elite quarterbacks get there. So Jimmy ends up getting to that backside dig, backside square in, 10, 15 yard in, whatever you want to call it. So here, Jimmy acknowledges that there's an underneath defender because, again, we've seen him not just act like he doesn't exist. That's not an issue here. And then instead of compounding the issue, so let's walk through it here. He recognized that 54 is getting depth and dropping here. I cannot throw there. Gets a little happy feet in the pocket, probably wondering where the hell is my check down at. But I think what I really like here is instead of taking a sack, it turns into a 5-6 yard gain because it gets to his check down. So you'll get to see the linebacker drop from this angle. He's looking. Nope, can't do that. See if we can see his helmet. Just doesn't like the window there, so doesn't force it, which is a good step. Next play, goes all the way back to Kittle. Nope, don't like that. Now I got pressure in my face. What am I going to do? Where the hell is my check down? How has he not gotten out of the backfield yet? So right there, the ball is still in his hands. Could have easily been a sack. Could have been a disaster. Instead, gets the ball out to his check down. That is a really impressive play. Just avoid the negative play, keep your offense on schedule, and that's how you score touchdowns. So that was a really good play by 10 there. All right, here's another nifty play designed by Kyle Shanahan. So the 49ers are going to roll out and throw a deep ball to George Kittle. They're going to do it against the Falcons cover 2 defense. And when I say cover 2, so this safety is going to be responsible for this deep half of the field. This safety is going to be responsible for this deep half of the field. As the formation stands right now, there's no other perimeter threat. So he's thinking, okay, I only have to worry about Kittle right here. They end up going in motion. And by doing that, as you can see, he has to back off and he has to respect. Now I have 2 threats in my zone. So the 49ers are going to do just a short roll to the left. And by doing that, you have to respect this as a linebacker because they teach you first steps are downhill. And you can see that happen. So let's let it play here. That right there, like that was enough. Just him stepping and having to honor that short roll was all it takes, because if we just go back, the play design, essentially, Ayuk's going to come up and he's going to run deep, try to hold the safety as long as he can. Kittle's just going to run straight. He's going to run straight, fast, turn around, and have the box out the safety. And on this side, we're going to run a clear out route here. So 2 defenders deep and 3 offensive players deep. If you can do math, 49ers are going to have the advantage somewhere. But essentially what this turns into is you and you. And as soon as he is late, it's not a false step because he's doing his job. He has to respect the run. As soon as he does that, you are 1 step behind this guy. And when that happens in a race, you are probably not going to catch up. So a lot going on this play, but it's very simple. And let's just let it play here. So you have the short roll. Turns into a box out. And there's just no way for that safety to be right because he has to honor him. He's not going to carry this deep route, I imagine. Yep, because you have an underneath route to hold him. So too many times this season, we've seen this player checking underneath to this player. And again, we've been talking about all year, use your playmakers down the field. Like, this is what's going to make the 49ers a dangerous team in the playoffs, is by stretching the field because they have players to stretch the field. Jimmy just throws it on time, gives them a chance. They will make the plays. He did a really good job of that in this game. So I've spoken a lot over this play, but here's how it turns out. Again, really it comes down to, after everything I've said, this guy and this guy, pretty much 25 yards down the field. If Kittle can beat him, he's good. Kittle's going to box out the safety. That's not an issue. Just let it play here. See, he has like 2-3 steps on the linebacker. So the linebacker is never an issue on this play. Jimmy doesn't have to worry about him. You'll see from the back end here, the little box out. Nice play design where you're one of your best players, if not your best player, can just run straight, turn around. I imagine he's going to get in trouble here for not getting any type of reroute or hands-on, letting Kittle just run free down the field. Yeah, don't want that. Good timing, good ball, protected him. That's not a hospital ball at all. You have to throw the ball, quote-unquote, above the rim. Easy pitch and catch. Probably one of the few negative plays that Jimmy had on the day, and it's really just him resetting his feet. So it's a play action. It's part of their boot game. He doesn't like what he sees with Ayuk, comes back to Sherfield, and the ball is just thrown behind him. And as you can see from the end zone view, it's really just his feet. Jimmy has to know that he has time to reset his feet. There's nobody in his face. See, let's check it out. So, quarterback. So this back foot will tell you where the ball is going to go, just from an accuracy standpoint. So, he's lining up to throw right now. His feet, like you would think he's still throwing to Ayuk or somebody outside of the numbers, outside of the hash, because they're aimed this way. If he had time, if he took the time to reset, you'll see later in this breakdown that, somebody's in Jimmy's face and he has no problem readjusting. So again, not the end of the world, but these are plays that I imagine Shanahan will want to run. So he just has to take his time, reset his feet, get his feet lined up so he's throwing here and not here. And that's why the ball is inaccurate. All right, this is the third down in the red zone. 49ers have a chance to put points on the board. So, JaMycal Hasty, who's been serving as the third down back when he has been healthy, this is called a check release. So, when I say that, that means he's going to check to see if there's a blitzer, and then if there is not, he can release. He does not do the check part and instead releases and gets the quarterback killed. This cannot happen. So, part of his issue coming out of the draft was, hey, he struggles in pass protection. I asked him about this last offseason, and it sounded like, I worded it pretty strongly just because, hey, man, everybody knows it. It's been kind of an issue. Are you working on that? And he said, yeah, of course. He said all the right things, but this is a play that tells you, he still has a little ways to go as far as understanding pass protection. So here we go. Let's run the play. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You are responsible for the in man of the line of scrimmage. He does his job. He takes his job. He takes this guy. And then the right tackle, Tom Compton, is responsible for the next closest defender to the quarterback, meaning they're sliding that way. You have to take the in man of the line of scrimmage, man. Doesn't happen. Thankfully, that quick release, that's what it's good for. When everybody talks about Jimmy's quick release, this is what matters. So he's able to get rid of the ball when somebody's in his face. This is just a really good job of avoiding a sack, avoiding a negative play again. It sucks that it happened on third down and they're not able to, live for another down or try to score a touchdown. But I think this is on him. He forgot the whole check part of the check release. Good on 10 for getting rid of the ball, knowing where his check down is, and they're able to get a field goal out of it. But I think that speaks volumes to Jimmy's quick release. The reason that I'm really a fan of Kyle Shanahan is because when something works, he sticks with it. When he sees something show up and they don't hit it, he will come back to it a couple series later. That's exactly what happens here. So remember that very first play where I said Jimmy missed Ayuk on that slant window. So they come back a couple series later here. And it's very simple. So he's going to run to the flat. Brandon Ayuk's going to run a slant. All of this space makes it really tough for even an elite cornerback like A.J. Terrell to be able to stay with Ayuk here. So the only way that this play doesn't work is if he is able to get into the throwing window, but they use the entire field. I think they do a good job of spacing here. And based on his angle departure, if he takes any sort of false step or is hesitant, there's just no shot. Let's run it. Let the play run. Yeah, that hesitant by 45. And again, we talked about Kittle making a flat foot defender miss and just barely getting a hand on him. Ayuk does the same thing here. Their athletes are on another level, which is why it's easy to see why you can score, 31 points. So I want to slow it down here once Ayuk catches the ball. So right here, you would think you're coming downhill and you have a chance to hit him. He does not touch him. That's when you know these guys can fly. To the very next play, this is just what happens when you can manipulate the other team's run fits and coverage rules. So here's what happens. They are going to end up motioning Kyle Juszczyk out of the backfield. Why? Because this is the in man on the line of scrimmage. He's probably going to be the flat defender. He is going to be responsible for quote unquote backs out. So I'm going to take him out of the run fit, take somebody wearing number 90s out of the run fit. That means you are now short a man, and I can still do what I want. So they're just going to run outside zone here. But because it doesn't seem like much, but because they motioned him out, now you are able to get work to the second level, seal, and then get to the edge with Jeff Wilson here. All he has to do is just stay in front of him. He doesn't have to like kill somebody wearing the 90s. But again, just a really good way to manipulate what the defense is doing, and you get 11 yards out of it. So watch it play out. As you can see, Juice does his job. Ayuk blocking to the top. He's really good. And he's taking pride in it, which is another big deal. But watch from this side. So from here, it would be tough because they're all going to be running this way. They're all going to be taking a step this way. And it would be just tough for Juszczyk to have that type of angle. Don't have to worry about that now because he is no longer in the frame. Now we can just get a seal here, and then we can work up to the second level, and all that happens. Yeah, I think this was just a really impressive game all around from a play calling standpoint. Right there. Sealed. And again, when I say sealed, he should probably be on this side of him, but because these guys are so fast, just getting in the way, and again, getting in the way is plenty when you have athletes, and it works. The best parts about this offense is that they do so much pre-snap and also during the play that they are able to block defenders without blocking them. And that happened on this Kyle Juszczyk touchdown run. So Jeff Wilson is going to go out like he's getting a toss. They don't block the in-man line of scrimmage because they know he has to honor that. He's not going to dive in knowing I'm responsible for somebody out here. So don't have to worry about him. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to reverse pivot out. So instead of just handing the ball, opening his left shoulder, taking a step with his left foot, and handing the ball off to Kyle Juszczyk, he's going to reverse pivot and open up this way. So step with his right, open up with his right shoulder. By doing that, you force the linebacker this way to take a false step left. Once that happens, he's out of the picture. So he's gone. That leaves 1, 2, 3 for 1, 2, 3. These three are unreal, and they have been very good all season. He is going to kill this guy right here. We're going to be able to see it, but again, everything that happens before the ball is even snapped is the real reason why this is a touchdown. So let's just let it play. As you can see, in-man line of scrimmage. He's out of the picture. Where is he running? He's running to the left, thinking because of that reverse pivot that Jimmy did. And now it's just like a walk-in. So when you can run the ball from the 6, 7, 8 yard line, wherever they are, and Kyle Juszczyk isn't touched until he reaches the 1 yard line, a lot went right. This doesn't seem like much, but man, that is a really well-executed football play. All right, 71. Let's watch him. When he gets a chance to down block somebody in the gap next to him, it is a highlight waiting to happen. This happens, and afterward, I don't know if Williams comes back and is, in his ear talking crap to him, or if he's just celebrating with Tomlinson, but he doesn't really show this type of emotion. I couldn't tell who he was talking to. I would imagine it is the guy that he just freaking buried. Because, man, just caved the whole side of the line of scrimmage in. Touchdown. All right, so that Kittle bubble was an RPO. This is another RPO, so they're going to fake their wide zone, their stretch zone. And if there is no backside defender, they're just going to throw the backside slant, what they call drift. And I think Trent Williams thinks that this defender is going to run down the line of scrimmage like most of them do. He actually doesn't, and he gets a free shot at Jimmy. Again, you'll see Jimmy's quick release show up here, fits the ball into a tight window, plays on time, and then, Debo does the rest. But I think he's a little fooled here, and maybe that's just, from film study. The Falcons would always run this way, and it doesn't happen. Sometimes in the NFL, you have to adjust. Again, Jimmy does a good job of not taking the sack, get rid of the ball, making the right read, and then mouthpiece. I don't know what to say to that. I would not want to be a part of that on the other end. I am very sure of that. So let's take a look from the end zone view. Jimmy's just reading to see as soon as he does that. So as soon as 45, we saw from this angle there, the all 22 angle, that there's no defender stopping Deebo Samuel. So as soon as he just walks this way, takes a false step, it's easy pitch and catch. There's nothing really stopping him there. And then those type of collisions break your soul. Before the 49ers' final scoring drive, I believe they had 2 3-and-outs in a row, and there was a Jennings drop. And then on this play, I wouldn't call this a drop. It's really just a good play by the DB. But in the playoffs, you are going to go against really, really, really good cornerbacks, and Deebo Samuel is going to have to make these type of plays. He didn't he didn't on this play, but I think this is a good rep. So it's third down. You want to move the ball. You don't want to have to punt. Unfortunately, that happens, but these are the plays that the 49ers wide receivers as a whole will have to make in the playoffs against the better competition, against the better teams, to keep these drives alive and, continue to march down the field as they usually do. But it didn't happen on this play. Let's just watch it. You don't really see many cornerbacks stick with Deebo because obviously he's very, very fast, but his strength at the top of the route usually creates separation. And then once that doesn't happen, he's actually been very good in contested situations at catching these passes. So good on Terrell for getting his hand in there. As you can see, he's mad that he didn't catch that. I wouldn't call that a drop. I would call it just, it's a better play by the defense. But again, these have to be made. Jimmy does exactly what you want. We are going to the right spot here. Everything happens the way that, the play is drawn up. The ball is just not caught. He throws the ball into a contested situation, which, on the surface might seem like a bad idea, but that's how it's going to be in the playoffs. So he has to give his guys a chance. And I've been saying that over and over and over again. Throw the ball to your playmakers. They will make plays. It didn't happen on this play, but the process is right, which is why I give Jimmy credit here. Deebo just has to catch the ball. Overall, thought it was really a game from 10. Again, I think the Titans are going to be one of the biggest challenges for the 49ers, so I'm interested to see how the passing offense looks against them. But it'll be fun, and I think that they'll be able to come out ahead.